him.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-muck-up, it's time for the only news that matters. And yes, this is Van Halen 2 days in a row, but on this episode, there will be no Belcher bashing. No, sir. Alright, as evidenced by Black Sabbath's recent Back to the Beginning concert, it's important for a band to put together a final performance for the fans. To not only celebrate the great music, influence, accomplishments, but also provide some closure. But in the case of Van Halen, such a task would prove mighty hard. Alright, let me stop there for a second. Van Halen is no longer. Back to the Beginning, you had all 4 original members. That shit was legit. I don't care who you get on guitar, Wolfgang, anybody, it ain't Van Halen. You can get somebody up on stage and do Eddie Van Halen lick by lick, but he lacks the live looseness that was Eddie Van Halen. He was one of a kind. Alright, let's keep reading this shit. Now, the author of the world state-of-the-art speed metal band, the Megadeth Story, 1983 to 2002, author Eric Senich said, I would love to see one day David Lee Roth, Michael Anthony, and Alex Van Halen just get together, whether it be on stage or not. It'd be just cool to see those 3 guys at least bury the hatchet. And while I too would like to see that, my reply perhaps put more realistic spin on it. The problem now is, like we saw at the Ozzy show, is that they're getting kind of old. So Roth can still cut it. I don't know about that. I just saw Roth a couple months ago. It was a great time. I had a great time. I don't care. He sounded like a dying frog, but like I've said a million times, I'd rather hear that dying frog than Sammy Belcher on his best day. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to bash on Belcher. Anyway, so he says Roth can still cut it. Michael Anthony is still out there playing and singing. But from what I can see, it seems like Alex Van Halen, he's not going to be as powerful as he once was. I assume that Alex Van Halen would not be as powerful a drummer as he was in the late 70s or early 80s, perhaps because he was appearing at events in 2024 to promote his book, Brothers, and he had to walk with a cane. Yeah, I got to stop there a second. I saw Alex Van Halen in the 2000, last time 2015. He was fine. Probably not now, but 70s and 80s, no, he was still good. But, even though he still played well, he played to crappy songs with Sammy Belcher. Oops. Alright, then he says, but the real reason why I feel we won't be seeing any sort of Van Halen tribute to Eddie, who passed away in 2020, with the surviving members, is for the same reason the Roth era lineup has been on again and off again over the years. They simply cannot coexist together. Again, that's wrong. Eddie got sick. But when Roth came back in 2007, I believe, there was no on-off again, They did the reunion, they did an album, they did another tour for the album, then they did a tour for the live album. So yeah, this guy's kind of got his facts wrong here. It's weird, too, how when Alex Van Halen was doing all the publicity for when his book came out, he was saying, the first person that I called after the news broke of Eddie Van Halen's dying was actually Dave. And all right, good. So now they're on good terms. I don't see how they were ever on bad terms. I mean, they were still together and all. But, and then he says, and then you hear Alex Van Halen saying, we tried to do a tribute toward Eddie, and David Lee Roth refused to even mention Eddie. And we almost got into a fight. So I don't know. These guys just never get along. Yeah, that's kind of a stretch too. I don't recall Alex saying that him and Dave almost got in a fight over it. I'm sure this guy heard the same interviews I did. But yeah, I mean, it is true. Alex said that Dave was the problem for a reunion, and Wolfgang hinted at it too. And but he still talks to Dave. They're still friends. The first person he called when Eddie died was Dave. So I don't know. There's kind of Alex, I guess, accepts the wackiness of David Lee Roth now where he couldn't in the past. But he didn't call Sammy. He didn't call Sammy at all. Because Sammy, that Sammy Hagar Belcher guy, he sucks. Whoops. Anyway, and Dave sucks too. For him to, his ego is still intact, for him to ruin the tribute show. Personally, I don't give a crap about a tribute show. I just don't care. Unless Eddie's there. I care about the Black Sabbath one because all 4 original members were there. I mean, it'd be nice to do a one-off, but do a tour. If it came down here, I don't think I would go. And they were talking to Joe Satriani. I'm sorry. He can't do the beginning of Mean Street. It's just not Van Halen. But everybody wants to cling on to their childhood for dear life when you want to go see a band you grew up on that only has 1 or 2 original members. No original lineups out there. The original lineup where it costs like $12 to see them. Now it's not an original lineup and it's a downgrade and they ain't as good as they were back then. And it's $112 to park. I mean, come on. I don't want to cling to my childhood that bad. You know how I cling to my childhood? Playing those records. Playing Fair Warning. Playing Women and Children First, man. Playing the classic Six-Pack. A Different Kind of Truth. That's how I relive my youth, But, more power to people out there that, get excited to go see these scab bands. Hey, man, that's your thing. And I'm sure you get a lot of enjoyment out of it. People that went to go see Kiss on the End of the Road tour. I was offered free tickets twice because they came back here 2 times. And I refused both times. That's it. I've had enough. By that time, it was like, oh, man, I don't want to see these bands, I just don't. I have no, I'm going to go see soon Bruce Dickinson. I'm going to see Michael Schenker soon. And what's the other concert I'm going to? There's a few concerts I'm going to that, the original members don't, I mean, they're great and all for Michael Schenker, I love all this shit. But come on, it's Michael Schenker. It's Bruce Dickinson, I'm not going to be heartbroken Roy Z's not at the Bruce Dickinson show. Or is he touring with him? I don't know. All I know, I'm excited to go see it. I did see David Lee Roth not too long ago, and it wasn't Van Halen. All he did play was Van Halen, and what a band. That was a great band. That guitar player is way better than Joe Satriani doing Van Halen. He's mostly doing Vangina, but he does some Van Halen. But that dude, that unknown dude, that I don't know, that the masses don't know. I've never been a Satriani fan. I do own Surfing with the Alien. It's all right. But I've seen him live a few times, and he bores me to tears. Where this dude was rocking, man. But it wasn't Van Halen. With him, with the guy in David Lee Roth, or with Joe Satriani. It's not Van Halen without Eddie Van Halen. You're going to see a tribute band like Pantera. And I saw Pantera, though my brother got free tickets, so that's why I went, you know. And it was not as good as original Pantera. It was all right. I don't think it was terrible, but it wasn't Pantera, man. The legitimate vibe was not there. The precision of Dimebag and how he locked in with Vinny, the precision of their playing was not evident. I'm sorry, Zakk Wylde, great guitar player and all, but he can't do Dime. I've seen people on YouTube do better Dimes than Zakk. He plays like Zakk, you know? And that doesn't make it Pantera to me. But hey, enough of my yelling at the cloud and get off my lawn. Sammy Hagar, Belcher, sucks. Yeah, he blows. He fucking blows. And Vangina sucks. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Viva Van Halen. Thank you all for watching The Only News That Matters. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell. And leave your comment below what you feel about this shindig. I would appreciate it. So stay frosty. Stay away from the Belcher. And smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.